Alright fam, so today we're doing a ramble review of Empire of Light by Alex Haro. I think that's how you say it, but I'm not sure, so we're just gonna go with it. This book is about an assassin who just basically kills whoever the government wants him to kill, and he has a lover. This assassin is named Damien, by the way. He has a lover named Eris, who has magical capabilities. They're called voyants in this book, hence why it's a voyants book one. And so Eris, Damien's lover, is a voyant, and voyants are actually hunted down by the government and basically lobotomized. So to keep Eris from not getting lobotomized, Damien takes on all of these government jobs and they look the other way. So it's cool and all, right? And then Rayan, I think that's how you pronounce his name. These all could be wrong pronunciations of the names. These are just what I came up with in my head. But anyway, Rayan enters the picture and he gets Damien involved into a lot of political intrigue and revolutionary stuff. So Eris is no longer as safe as he once was, and so there's all kind of shenanigans that ensue. That's the basic plot. There are a lot of content warnings in the beginning of this book. I will be putting the content warnings in the description down below if you would like to read them. But the main two I found were graphic violence and sexual content, like explicit sexual content. If you are not a fan of violence, definitely don't recommend this book, because this book is nothing but violence. There is so much violence in this book, which is fine by me, but it's not everyone's cup of tea. So if you don't like violence, that's okay. Just don't read this book. And then if you don't like sexual content, maybe don't read this book. I did the math. It only adds up to be 12 pages out of 280, but I mean, it's still there, and it's still really explicit, so, like, you could always skip those scenes. You could always skip those scenes. That is a possibility. You can't skip the violence. I'm sorry. The violence is just the whole book. But yeah, so those are the main two. There are details in the content warning in the book that explain what kind of violence and what kind of sexual content, and there's another thing that it warns you against, too, that I am regretfully going to leave in the description down below because it's in the book. I kind of think it's like a low-key spoiler, but it's not really a spoiler because most people forget content. Well, at least I forgot a lot of the content warnings, so when the stuff happened that it technically was warning me was going to happened, I was like, oh my god, I didn't see that coming. So it's not really a spoiler, but kind of is. So if you just want to avoid those things, just don't look in the description, guys. It's fine. If you want my social media links, they're linked in literally every video of mine and on my channel. So you don't have to go to the description in this video if you don't want to. That all being said, I'm going to talk a little bit about the characters individually. And I'm also going to put this down because holding this up the entire time was a bad idea. So Damien, right? He's our main character. He is a person of color. He's described as having, I believe, brown skin. And he is also queer. It says one time that his lover, who is male, Damien is male, his lover is also male. It's said one time that Eris would call him a demisexual monogamist. So I'm not sure if Damien identifies as demisexual or not. He could. He's an assassin. He's always getting beat up in this book. Literally, the guy cannot catch a break. And I love him a lot. Then there's Eris, who is Damien's lover. He is male, like I said. Also queer. And he is voyant, which means that he can do magic. And he's, like, kind of low-key proud of that. Like, typically, voyants are, like, really trying to keep their voyance on the down low, but, like, Eris doesn't necessarily do that. So, he's kind of buoyant and proud, I guess you would say. And then finally, the last character I'm going to talk about individually is Rayan, who is also male, also queer, and he is basically where the political intrigue ensues. He's like the driving force behind the political intrigue, and it's real cool. There's also some side characters that are lovely. There's Jay, who is like 16, and like they keep calling her Grasshopper, and it's adorable. And then there's Iltis, I think is how you say it. She's blind, but she like beats everybody with her cane, and she can like recognize people and play chess and do all kinds of shit that you would think blind people can't do. So she's cool too. And there's some other characters that I mean are fine. Like they're good characters in the sense that they're well written, but I don't really care about them so much, so we're not gonna talk about them. I'm keeping the plot in my synopsis vaguer than it is on the back of the book, just because I feel like the back of the book just kind of spoils some things, and I don't want to spoil anything, at least not yet. So yeah, that is the characters. The main issues I had with this book were the world building. Did not really like the world building in the sense that like it's supposed to take place in the future of New York, but then they keep speaking French and name like the like places are named French names, and it just didn't make any sense to me. And I was like, why is French like so prominent now? Like, we're never told. So I think the world building could have been a little more fleshed out in that sense. And then, so the author made this weird choice to say that the religion of all of these people does not believe in one hell, it believes in 7 hells. So whenever a character says hell, it's not hell, it's hells. And that took a long time to get used to. That is my non-spoilery review. I hope that you found it useful. If you would like to read Empire of Light by Alex Harrow, I believe it is on Amazon. I'm not sure if it's anywhere else, but you can check. Because I know boycotting Amazon is a thing. I'm trying to do it myself, but I don't do it at the cost of indie authors who only print their books on Amazon. If you feel me, let's get on to my spoilery thoughts. Now, okay, I'm gonna give you like a rundown of the plot that's more spoilery, so you know what's going on. So basically, Damon is hired by Rayan. Rayan is basically like, hey, I need you to kill your old boss. But it turns out that this old boss is actually his mother, because he's the son of the, like, president or prime minister, like, king, monarch, tyrant character. He's the son that was supposed to have died in a fire. He has burn scars, but he is not dead. He wears, like, a fedora and a trench coat to, like, hide his face, and, like, in the very beginning, before Damien knows his name, he calls him Fedora. It's literally written as Fedora in the text. It's hilarious. But anyway, so yeah, that happens, and Eris, like, goes to a temple, but then it's revealed that Eris is actually Rayan's brother. Wow. And then he goes off to the palace and, like, completely changes. He does not completely change. He's just trying to overthrow the tyrant figure, his father, essentially. So yeah, there's lots of twists and turns, and yeah, it's pretty lit. The one thing I saw it coming, wasn't sure if I liked it, but then I definitely liked it by the end. So, like I stated, Damien is said to be demisexual, and he is in love with Eris. So, like, they're a thing, and then Rayan comes into the picture, and then suddenly, like, after, like, a couple of, like, times that Rand saves Damien's life, Damien starts to be like, oh no, I kind of like Rand. So there's that. So it actually ends up being Damien and Rand at the end of things because Eris is very promiscuous. He has like a person that he goes to for sex. They have like a contract. Well, she ends up getting pregnant by him. And so at the very end of the book, he goes off to like be with her and like try and not be an absent father. And so that leaves Damien and Rand, who were already a thing before because Eris had gone to the palace and like Damien had tried to save Eris, but Eris threw him down some stairs and almost killed him. So Damien and Rand end up being like a thing. But then like the drama happens and like they're not a thing for a hot second, but then Eris is like, you should be happy, Damien, and Damien is like, you're right. And so the book ends with him and Rand getting back together and, you know, being cute and shit. Also, this is a big spoiler. Damien is a voyant. So he finds out that he's a voyant like during a bar fight. He, like, shatters some bottles with his mind, and, like, nobody seems to really notice, except for one of his crewmates who joined the police to be a spy for them, but then ended up working for the police anyway, and then he gets burned at the stake for being a traitor. It's real cool. I liked his character arc because I didn't like him as a character that much, and then he got executed, and I was like, good. He finds out he's a voyant, and then when he gets pushed down those stairs, like, he heals from it fairly quickly because voyants heal quicker than normal people. And yeah, it turns out that Rand is also a voyant too. He just isn't the kind that can, like, use the voyants to, like, do stuff. He mainly can just, like, suck out people's voyants and use it to heal himself. That's what causes the whole drama between him and Damien, is because he got shot. Rand got shot for Damien, and they're pulling the bullet out, and while Damien's holding him down, Rand is, like, taking, like, voyants from Damien to, like, live. So I don't know. I thought it was neat. And I think those are all my spoilery thoughts. I could talk about how the two characters that I talked about, they end up dying, and it's very sad. The asshole that got executed ratted them out, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, pretty sure he ratted out their location. He got burned, so the poetic justice, I talked about this in my reading blog. The poetic justice is that, so the two crewmates of Damien's, Jay and Iltis, are killed, and then Damien just sets the whole place on fire to, like, burn their bodies. And then the person who ratted them out, and he's the one who gets burned at the stake. It's cool because they were burned, and now you're being burned because they were burned. We love it. So, anyway, if you've stuck around until this point, you get a fun fact. Your fun fact is that I fucking wrote notes for this review, y'all. Look at these notes. I wrote, like, notes about the plot. I wrote notes about the characters, and I wrote down my issues. I didn't write any spoilery thoughts because I ran out of room on the piece of paper, and I didn't want to write 2 pages of notes. But, yeah, I wrote notes for this review, and I hope it turned out well. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.